Suspended Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Godwin Emefiele's road to freedom may still be very long as the federal government has applied to withdraw the illegal possession of firearms case it filed against him at the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos and has replaced it with a 20-count charge. The Director of Public Prosecutions at the Federal Ministry of Justice, Mohammed Abubakar, in an oral application told Justice Nicholas Oweibo that the application followed the results of further investigations. The DPP said that the 20-count charge has been filed at the Federal Capital Territory High Court against the suspended CBN governor. However, counsel to Mr. Emefiele, Joseph Daudu, opposed the application, insisting that the government must first purge itself of the disobedience of the court's order granting bail to Mr. Emefiele before its application could be taken. The justice has adjourned till Thursday to rule on the application. We're now joined by Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Victor Okpara, one of the counsel to Mr. Emefiele. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. To the layman who does not understand legal procedure, what exactly transpired in court today?
Okay. The matter was slated today for the hearing of two applications. The first application that was accorded priority by the court is the application filed by Godwin Emefiele seeking to prohibit the federal government from taking any further steps regarding the charges until the federal government obeys the extant orders of court, admitting him to bail and committing him into the hands of a Nigerian Correctional Center, pending the perfection of his bail. The other application that was ripe for hearing is the application filed by the federal government seeking the leave of court to appeal the decision of the court admitting Godwin Emefiele to bail. Interestingly, when we got to court today, the stage was set for legal fireworks. But surprisingly, the DPP informed the court orally that the federal government intends to withdraw those charges. We took the view that when it has to do with withdrawal, particularly in the circumstances of this case, it was most ideal and proper to file a formal process so that the defense will have the opportunity to react to the prosecutorial intention of the federal government, as it were. Arguments were taken by the Honorable Court regarding the propriety of withdrawing those charges orally, and more importantly, whether the federal government was actually in proper wickets to even take further steps, despite the fact that the federal government was still disobeying the orders of the courts. So the court adjourned till the Thursday to rule on the application.
Okay, before we lose you, I'd like to hear from you about some of the difficulties. If you can hear me, sir, what are some of the difficulties you are facing in getting the DSS and other agencies to obey the initial order granting bail to Mr. Emefiele?
Pardon me, I didn't hear you.
I'm trying to find out from you what are some of the difficulties that you are facing in getting the DSS and other agencies to obey the initial order granting bail to the suspended CBN governor.
Well, you need to understand that orders of courts are sacrosanct. Orders of court ought to be obeyed. The law is not a respecter of persons. And it is really unfortunate that the federal government has been consistently disobeying the orders of courts. It is most reprehensible, in my view, condemnable, abominable, unacceptable, and unthinkable. And the difficulty that we're facing It's just the simple difficulty of the federal government not being unwilling to comply with the orders of court. When we were faced with that challenge, we went back to the courts and sought order of court permitting us to publish the orders of court using 3 national newspapers. And the court saw merit in our application and granted that request. Subsequently, the publications of the extant court order was made in those tabloids. Yeah, I believe with the greatest respect that is when the federal government saw this, that they now, belatedly in my view, sought to appeal the decision of the court. The federal government has absolute right
Mr. Okpara, in the interest of
decision
time, I'd have to say thank you. Thank you very much for speaking with us, and we hope to hear from you subsequently here on Nigeria Tonight.